Hi everyone, this is Deb, and I'm here today to share with you a new idea that I have had, and I thought maybe that you might like to see it. It is sewing related, but it could also be used for paper, and I will show you that. But it is sewing. You could use it either on fabric or paper. So on Pinterest, I found some, oh dang it, what do they call it? Oh, this is not a good start, is it? The free motion applique. And I loved it, and I thought, let me see if I can't do that. So I had read that it might be easiest to start and practice on paper. So that's what I did. And that's what these awful messes are. As you can see, they did not turn out too nifty. So again, these are free motion, which means that you drop your feed dog. Yeah, I just don't have enough control, I guess, which there's no doubt about that. I lack control in a lot of areas of my life. So anyway, that's what these are. And so even though these turned out poorly, I thought, I still like that. I wonder if there's some way that I couldn't modify that in a way that I could use it. So that's what I have done. So I feel like there's more than one way to get to where you're going, and so I decided to give it a try. So that's what I'm here to show you. If you would like to try this in the files, there are these sewing themed paper applique from when I did the journaling project. And so you don't have to buy anything. You can just go out there and use those. And I've got a couple of projects here that I thought that I would show you. So for example, here is this template. And this is on paper. So what I did was trace this out on the paper. First, I stitched this. I did not drop my feed dog. This is not free motion. And I shortened the stitch length and did it like that. Now, if you're going to use, this is paper. If you're going to use fabric, you want to have some kind of stabilizer on the back, either a tearaway stabilizer, or what I found that actually worked better than that is freezer paper. I just ironed freezer paper onto the back. You want to use an open toe foot so that you can see what you're doing. And so let me show you, if you use fabric, how you're going to want to do it. So I've kind of got this organized here, hopefully. So this is the pattern that's in the files in this group. So you want to turn it over. As we all know, I use soft fuse. You're going to trace this onto the soft fuse. You're going to roughly cut around it. You're going to sew it onto your fabric. And then you'll cut it out on the line. Okay, so that's what this is. And then once you sew it or iron it down, then you will use your sewing machine to just go around. You do not want it to be perfect. You want it to be haphazard, because it's going to have that free motion look if you do. Use black thread, and I mean, these are excellent to try your hand to see whether or not you like that. I'm sure that you have, this is just muslin. I'm sure that you've got freezer paper, muslin, little scraps of paper or fabric. So here's another one that I did with this same pattern template. Here's one that I did with the cup, but I wanted them to be bowls. So I didn't trace the handle. All I did was the bowls, and then stacked them inside of each other, traced around it, did some detail work. So you're going to go around the same area 2 or 3 times. So for example, where I started here was, I started here at the bottom, I went up, I sewed down and back, and then I went up and I sewed down and back, and then I went up, sewed around all the way. Okay, here I went up, I did a wavy line, I came back in a wavy line, went up, around, came all the way around. Here I went up and around and down, over, back, down, and all the way around. So that's basically, I mean, it's just as simple as can be. You're not going to follow any lines. You're going to go where it is that it takes you. So again, these are in the files, easy for you to practice with. So once I moved past these and kind of got an idea what I was doing, then I thought, what else could I do? So I happened to find a pattern. Let me show you that. It's an embroidery pattern that my niece Marva gave to me several years ago. And as you can see by looking at it, it is a very detailed design. The embroidery work is very detailed. And she has used different colors. So this is a lot of handwork to get this done. Now I had these already drawn out onto these different pieces of muslin and feed sack for the most part. But again, that's a lot of handwork. And so I thought, you know what? I've already got them done. So let me see if I can't do it with this. Let me try it. So I want to show you the results. So let me get this pattern again. And I want to show you, I'm going to start with this one right here. And I'll show that one to you. So the pattern looks like this. Because it's long, you have to attach the bottom and the top. But the pattern looks like this. And again, I already had it traced. And this is the way it turned out. So I did a combination of applique and just stitch work, all by machine. Did not drop my feed dog. I've got it backed with freezer paper. And I think they turned out awesome. Now, I did use fusible. The applique part is fusible, the soft fuse. So when you're looking at your pattern, and I know that you all are just like me, you have probably got every kind of pattern under the sun in your craft room. So go in there, dig through there. You know how I am with giving you a challenge. Well, here's the challenge. Go out or go into your stash, look and see what you've got. I promise you that the hardest thing about doing this is picking out your fabric. So take a look, see what kind of patterns that you've got out there. decide which parts of your patterns will you use as applique. Oh, sorry for that big noise. Apparently they're cleaning the street. Decide which parts would be the fabric applique and which parts would just be the stitch work. So there is a little bit of thinking about it as you go through it. And here's another example. So here the flower is in front of this stitch work. So I went ahead and stitched this and the handle before I put any of the applique down. Actually, while I was there, I just went ahead and did all the stems and stuff. Because again, see, here's another place there. So there is a little bit of thinking that you have to do. And even as small as these leaves are, you know, you don't want to go, let me pull this up a little bit. You don't want to go all the way to the edge. This is not tidy stitching. This is you get in there and you zing around. Let's see how you can see this one's done twice. You know, this one I think's done 3 times. So you just go around until you think it looks like you want it to look. Looks like maybe I only did the handle once, which surprises me. So, but anyway, this is actually the first one that I did. And it turned out so good, I was like, woohoo, I'm going to keep up with that. So, I shall show you the rest. And let's see here. So, here is this pattern. Now, these are all from the same, that same Tasket embroidery pattern. So, here's the pattern. So, you'll see that there is design work in the basket. And the whatever you call that on top of the basket. So that's exactly the way I did it. Even though I kind of picked out a basket weave fabric, I still did that design work. And I just did twirlies around the flowers and X's in the center. Just very simple. Just very, very simple. And I'm telling you, I had this done in like maybe 2-3 minutes. I mean, it is really, you just zing around. Now, some of them got a little more detail. Some of them have a little more thought. And here's an example of that. So here's the pattern. And I kind of had to think about, maybe it's because I was tired or I don't know what, but, and see, it seems, I mean, and it is primitive and I like that, but it just seemed kind of, I don't know, I couldn't figure out how I did that by machine. So this is the way I did it. And it turned out all right. So, see, she doesn't have this here, which I added that there. Oh, forgot to do this leaf right here. So obviously this was getting towards the end and I need to go back and do that. So, all right, let's see the next one. Oh, this one turned out really good. So here's the pattern. And here's how that turned out. That turned out really good. Well, obviously I've got thread. Now, what I did with these little dudes, because you can see she's just got little, which would be French knots. I've got a stitch on my sewing machine that does these little circle or these little dots or whatever you want to call them. And so I messed around and played with those. I need to do a better job of trimming those off, but I thought that one turned out good. So here's one just as an example that I haven't done yet. So here's the pattern. And here it is. I've got everything ready to go. I just haven't stitched it yet. So I will repeat this pattern here in the little dots and And I will do see how the leaves are individual. I will do individual leaves here. And the whole thing. Here's another one that I don't have done yet. And again, so you can see that these look like lazy daisies. So what I decided to do here, which would be a little different, was I kind of made balls. I want them to be little puff balls. But I will come in with my sewing machine and I will do the lazy daisy design there. Here's another one that's not done. And on this one, I want these flowers to be white. So rather than put applique on there, I'm just going to stitch around them, sew around them, so that they look white. Oh, here's my favorite one. This one turned out the absolute best. Wait, I'm going to show you this one first. Then there's this one. And this is how it turned out. So you can see instead of hash marks, I used V's. And instead of these little circles, I'm going to use buttons. Won't that be cute? And buttons. But this is my absolute favorite one. So here's the block. Scoot that up a little bit. And here's how it turned out. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, I am very pleased with that. So I actually, even though the leaf is on top of this, I went ahead and cut out the whole basket. And then I put the leaf on top of it. And even though I've got those two layers together, see how soft it is? Because I've used that soft fuse. And then again with these, there's 3 layers there. I mean, soft fuse is very soft and pliable. So anyway, I thought that those really turned out great. And I wanted to share that concept with you. I mean, everything that when I do applique, it's always in raw edge. I don't ever do needle turn. Even if I hand stitch it, which here's one that I did that I hand stitched. This is the one that I put the pattern out there earlier in the week. So these are all raw edges. Even the quilt, the cutter quilt pieces. So I did it all in raw edge, and again, that's all I do is raw edge. So anyway, I thought that I would show this to you, give you a challenge, and have you go out there and take a look and see what you've got that might work. To practice, again, those patterns that I've got out there are just small and would work great for this kind of a just to see if you like it and like the way it turns out. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. And so I'm going to let you go. I think that I've told you everything that I wanted to tell you, but I guarantee you once I finish filming, and I'm going to think of 14 other things that I wanted to tell you, but that's the way it works. So anyway, this is Deb, going to sign off. See you later. Bye.